Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Ignited Minds. Well, today I am back again with one of the most beautiful poem written by Kamala Das. And while reading this poem, I'm sure most of my subscribers will relate to the bonding that they have, particularly with their mothers. Now, it's a well known fact that mothers are comparatively close to the children, assuming or presuming that kids are born in the womb of mothers, and so it develops an eternal connection. Mothers are able to figure out when we are happy, when we are stressed, when we are not happy at all, when we are agonized, etc. So, this poem here is going to show a beautiful bond, I must say, represent a beautiful bond between a mother and a daughter, which we all must have encountered in our daily lives since we have been born. There are times in our lives when we have to put our interest above the family, put our interest or attraction, give more importance to things which are not a part of a family. But it isn't that easy for us to do. And so here, the poet Kamala Das, she had written in the poem that there was a time when she had to leave her mother, fearing that she might lose her. But the end of the poem will also give us some contrasting points. So let's start. First of all, it is very important to understand the theme of the poem. So here the theme says the poem is written by Kamala Das, and she is a very popular poet. She basically is trying to explain the complexities of human relationships, which I had just mentioned in the starting. This poem is one of the finest example of human bonding, and especially bonding between a mother and daughter. It describes the pain of the poet of losing her mother due to harsh reality of life. Here, harsh reality is nothing but the death. So somewhere the poet feels that she will lose her mother next time she comes back home. Let's start. Now, this is the first stanza, first four lines I'm going to start the poet with. Driving from my parents' home to Cochin last Friday morning, I saw my mother beside me. Now, here it is written driving from my parents' home. She has gone out for her further studies. She had come back to her home. And now, from her home to the airport again, she's about to leave. And she's about to leave by Cochin Airport. So she says that she had come to spend time with her mother during her vacations, or probably she had intentionally or purposely taken a leave. And after that, once her vacation, her leave was over, she is all set to return back to her place. And during this journey of returning back in the car, her mother will be accompanying this poet to the Cochin airport. Now, what is she saying? While they both were sitting in a car, she just saw her mother who was sitting next to her, beside her. Now, what does she realizes after watching her? Those open mouthed, her face ashen like that. Now, there's a very, very beautiful line, and the meaning must be understood to all of you. Doze means that the mother was kind of sleeping. She had not slept, but she was in the process of sleeping. And her mouth was open, and her face looked like ashen. Ashen here means corpse. Now, why is she saying this? The mother is already old. She is at 66. When she is sleeping, she is still. And that stillness of her mother gives the poet a dreadful imagination of her dead body. Because both the dead body and right now the mother who's still, they both are in a still position. When someone dies, then also he's in a still position. When someone sleeps, then also he or she is in a still position. So here the narrator, the poet, she feels as if she is scared after watching that scene when her mother's face looks like a dead corpse. She has a mouth open and it feels as if she has no life in her. Now imagine A girl who's about to leave her mother for her studies, and she sees her mother in the same state which she never wanted to see. How difficult it would have been for the daughter to say goodbye or bid goodbye to her mother. Of a corpse, and realized with pain that she was as old as. She put that thought away and looked out at a young tree sprinting. Now, with heavy heart, she realized that this is an inevitable truth. We all will get old, we all will die, we all will leave our beloved and loved ones. So she knew that she's about to leave her mother in the same condition and she will grow old. Today she is 66, and year after she will be 67, 68, 69, and so on. This thing cannot be stopped. So somewhere in her heart, she is really sad that her mother is growing old and old. But she cannot restrict herself to that point. So she chooses to move ahead, look outside the window, and tries to distract her mind. She is extremely distracted by whatever she has seen. So she checks out the window. And now, again, here is a contrast, a beautiful contrast between her mother and the trees sprinting. Sprinting here means moving fastly, when they're moving fast. The merry children spilling out of their homes, but after the airport security check, standing a few yards away, I looked again at her, wan pale as a late winter's moon, and felt that old familiar ache. Now, here what the poet is trying to say, that when she looked out of the window, she saw that the trees were moving. Now, it is a contrast between the condition of mother and the trees. The trees looked happy, they're moving here and there. The children are moving outside the airport, but the mother is still same, still, and she seems to be kind of unhappy. So she's contrasting both the situation. On one hand, the trees are moving, children are happy, and on the other hand, the mother is lying in the car all alone in a very, very still manner. Now, once she is at the security post guard, she is about to enter the airport and she has to bid her final goodbye. There is some kind of fear that comes again in her. Now, what is that fear? That fear is really common with all of us. Whenever we leave our house for education, for marriage, or for some other reason, we always have this thing that will we be able to see our parents if they are old? Considering if they are above 50 or above 60, this thought continuously provokes in our mind as if we'll be able to see them back or not. So she had this familiar ache. Familiar ache means a common trauma she had when she saw her mother last time before entering the plane. And it was a point in her head as if will she be able to see her mother back or not. Now, the interesting thing is, what can this thought do to a human? I mean, what this thought must have done to the poet herself. Had she stopped from going to the Cochin airport or to her place, or had she gone and she had least cared about it? Let's see. My childhood's fear, but all I said was, see you soon, Amma. All I did was smile and smile and smile. So here the point is that the poet, though she realized that it is not wise to leave her mother, but at the same time she was pretty serious about her aspirations, her career also, and with a very heavy heart, she said, bye, Amma, I hope to see you soon. So it is like a contrasting situation. She feels bad for her mothers, but at the same time, she has equal priority and importance for her career aspirations as well. Now, this is one point which I would like to share with all of you. It happens many times in our life that we have to keep things and emotions aside in order to live a happy and healthy life. Now, it's very important. This question comes most of the time in the board examination, and it is what are the poetic devices used? So, first of all, it is imagery because here the poem shows both things. A person can be dead and alive at the same time. In the example, when the mother is lying, the mother's body is compared to a corpse. So it's kind of an imagination, as if the mother is dead already. So here the poem is suggestive of both death and used. Hence, one of the poetic devices used here is imagery. The image of young trees and merry children are a contrast to the mother. So contrast is also used there. Young trees are happy, cheerful, lively. However, mother here it is not. Simile is a poetic device which is recognized by using as or like. Whenever you compare two things using as or like, it is called a simile. So when we have used this line in the poem, which is face ashen like a corpse as a late winter's moon. So here, face ashen like means face was like a dead body. So like here is in simile. Similarly, as a late winter's moon is also here because it's used as the face is compared to a late winter's moon, so it is also going to be a simile. Personification is when we give a lively attribute, when we give a lively thing to a non-living object, it is known as personification. Now here, trees is printing. What do you mean by trees is printing? Trees are non-living objects. They do breathe, but they cannot move. So they are not movable objects. So here, trees cannot move, but still it is written trees is printing. That means we are giving that human-like quality or attribute to the trees. Hence, it is called as personification. Next is repetition. Whenever a word is used again and again, we call it a repetition. Smile and smile and smile. These three words are used continuously in the poem. Now, metaphor is when we compare two things without using as and like. Like it's a direct comparison. We do not use as and like here. Children spilling. Now, here again, we have this metaphor. I hope the poem was pretty clear to you. If the poem was clear and understood well, don't forget to like and subscribe my channel. And for whatever queries you have, you can always post a comment or drop me an email at palaksaxena@1326gmail.com. Thank you so much.